Welcome to another episode of Walk Worthy, and I'm here with my friend Skylar, who is the CEO and founder of Rise Up Kings, and we've got to know each other over the last few years, and I had the honor of speaking at one of your events, and I just love everything you do because ultimately it's rooted in Christ, and there's a lot of people who do things in the entrepreneur space and the men's leadership space. But everything that you guys do is rooted in the foundation of who Jesus is, what he did, and what it means to be a man. And man, I just honor you and appreciate you as a friend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm excited to be here. This is very cool. Been looking forward to it.
Yeah. So I just want to kind of start with to the person listening that is not familiar with Rise Up Kings. When did you start that when you were still in California?
Yep.
Okay, would you kind of just we're going to talk about a Genesis event, but the Genesis of Rise Up Kings? Would you talk about that?
Yeah. The Genesis of Rise Up Kings. So it's pretty neat. We've had now thousands of people go through this experience, but it all started. We have a saying: your pain. There's purpose in your pain, and your mess becomes your message. And so my mess was my growing up with my mom. She loved Jesus tremendously. Yet was very broken, meaning she had drug addictions, she had alcohol addictions, and I watched her as a teenager. I became a Christian early on, followed Jesus, was all about following him, but I watched her take this path where she could basically live the life she wanted to live and still love Jesus. I mean, she would talk to our friends would be over at our house, and then she'd be drunk, preaching the gospel to them. And so it was a little confusing for me growing up. And so I kind of took that same path accidentally, where I started to, I was the kid carrying the Bible at school, in high school. I carried the Bible every day. I wanted to represent, but then my flesh was so strong. And I found my first porn magazine when I was 12, got hooked instantly. And it was a very challenging time through my teenage years and even in my early adult years, navigating living like Christ and then battling my flesh. Yeah. And so a part of my journey is that battle and that, I would say, spiritual formation that I started to dive into when I was about 23. Went to some personal development events, started to really grow closer to Christ, and it really healed I had to do some inner healing to really break free from the lust, porn addiction, and then the fleshly behavior that was really owning my life. Now, to this day, I love my mom tremendously, but man, still struggles with alcohol, and that was my issue. Like, how can you be a Christian that loves Jesus with all of your heart and is all about him in your heart, but then you stay stuck your entire life? She's read the Bible more than most people I know. Yeah. And so that's where I got confused in my early adult years. Like, I thought where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. Yet I very rarely ran into Christians that truly lived and operated in freedom. It's very rare. Yeah. And so and that's really kind of the start of that journey.
Yeah. And am I right in that you had someone that kind of stepped into your life and played a large role regarding mentorship? I know that was a huge part of my story, like what you're talking about, where I was learning the Bible and believed Jesus to be who he claimed to be, that, he lived the perfect life. He was fully God, fully man, died on a cross, rose again, and now seated at the right hand of God. And I'm like, and these things started changing me, but I needed someone to walk alongside me. And 1 Thessalonians talks about, they shared scripture with one another, but discipleship, sometimes it looks like sharing your very own life with one another. So a man showed me, this is what it means to say you're going to do something. James 5:7, I think it is, whereas like, let your yes be yes and your no be no. What does it look like to have integrity? And it's not just, putting on this perception of being perfect. It's actually having discipline in your real life. It's what does your life look like, even your mental game. So that was something that was just astronomical in my life. So would you just share, did you have someone step in your life like that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, his name, multiple mentors. And they were game changers in my life, not only spiritually, but in business, just all around on what it means to be a man. Yeah. So I had a guy, Jim Franklin. I started going to this church, Mariners Church in Southern California, big church in Orange County. And I went out there and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to find, like, I want to be around the highest level Christian guys I can find. And so I joined this Bible study, found this guy, Jim. He like owned a $100 million restoration company. So I said, cool, I'm gonna follow this guy. And so I joined his group. I started like kind of just getting close with him. And I eventually asked him, I said, hey, Jim, would you be willing to be my mentor? He kind of paused and thought about it. It was like an awkward silence. He was like, sure. I've not really done this before, but let's do it. Really successful, very grounded Christian man. And we started to meet weekly and discuss things. And man, it was a game changer for the way I understood the Bible, but also the way I lived out my faith. Yeah. Right. And so I believe, and I think there's a gap right now with in traditional churches is they're very weak in discipleship, is what I've seen. They know how to put on a great message. They just don't know how to disciple their men. Yeah. Which there's a gap there. There's not strong men of God that are walking alongside. We all need a strong man of God to walk alongside us so we can see the vision of what it means. The Bible is a great example, but many times we have a disconnect because it's, thousands of years ago. So we're like, all right, there's a disconnect there. Yeah. So I just don't, what's the real world example of a strong man of God? Yeah. And what is he doing every day? And like, how does he study the Bible? How does he take care of his family? How does he take care of his body? Yeah. What do his finances look like? And so that idea of that was something I was missing until I started to find a couple key mentors like Jim.
Yeah, I think just thinking about discipleship and compromise, it's like if you have compromise in one area of your life, the probability of you having compromise in every area of your life is pretty high. So would you just speak to the reality that, I hear from thousands upon thousands of people a month saying, hey, I might have my finances in order, maybe my fitness is in order, but man, I'm really struggling. As a follower of Jesus, I'm struggling with pornography still. What does that person do? Like, can you be a disciplined person, but yet still struggle with a lack of self-control in one area of your life?
I think you can act disciplined, but that one struggle, lust, it's such a powerful tool that Satan uses to keep strong men bound and people that have a lot of potential bound. Yeah. And then they downplay lust, and so it's the real deal, man. I mean, even I just like to be as transparent as I can always. Yesterday, I was on Instagram cruising, and then there was a couple little videos where I took a couple seconds too long and just looked at them, and I did it a few times, and I was like, oh shoot, I think I just had, and we teach out something called the amygdala hijack. Yeah. Right. It's when you get hijacked. Yeah. And so I'm like, I think I got hijacked for a moment there and kind of went into autopilot mode, not super inappropriate stuff, but really not righteous things. They were just a little provocative. And so I caught myself, and I'm like, man, this flesh, this thing's wild. It's going to be something that for the rest of my life I'm going to have really tight, really strong boundaries on, which I do. And then every now and then, if I get a little bit loose, that's the small, you talk about compromise, that's a small little compromise that will start to creep in, and we got to cut it right at the root. So I believe that there are a lot of good, godly men that are still bound by pornography and still stuck in pornography, even if it's Instagram inappropriate images. Yeah. And I think one of the keys to healing in this, and you've probably talked and done a lot of work around this, but James 5:16, right? Confess your sins to one another and pray for one another so you may be healed. Living in the light. Yeah. Living in the light was one of the most profound things that I ever did, which was sharing my struggle with somebody else. Like all of myself, like every aspect of myself, having someone to be able to share that with. Yeah. So that there's something Satan does is he wants us to keep these things a secret. Yeah. And so if we don't share it, we stay in the dark, and these skeletons that stay in the dark, they eat at us, and then we never reach our God-given potential, right? Because he's always got us pinned down. Yeah. So we have a saying at Ruck: the most powerful man in the room is the man that has nothing to hide. So it's the man that has nothing to hide. You have nothing on this guy. Yeah. He shared it all.
Yeah. And I think like what you just said is something that someone could implement that would be really powerful in their life, where I saw something and then I said something. You know, 2 Corinthians 10:5 talks about take every thought captive and make it obedient to Christ. You know, that's military language. It's saying, hey, I'm addressing a thought and I'm bringing that thought to Christ. And I remember a good friend of mine, Jonathan Bacluda, JP, and he was on a plane, and he had like clicked on a hashtag, and he like, kind of the same thing. He's like, I looked at something too long. It's like it wasn't pornography. It was on Instagram, but I looked too long, and I was preaching at a college to a bunch of college age students, and he's like, man, I'm going to sit here and preach on integrity and purity, and I'm going to be honest. He's like, before I say a word, I just want to let you know this is what happened in my life. And then no one leaned back, everyone leaned in. And at the end, when he was saying, hey, if this is you and there's something that you want to say for the first time, or you want freedom from something, literally a man stood up and he was like, I want to be free. And then another one, and then another one, and another one. And he shares that he got a lot of blowback from the staff. It's like, you can't do that. And it's like, the thinking that you can't do that is the reason in itself is why sexual sin, lust, like some of the stuff that we see going on is so problematic, because it's so nuanced, but it's so simple. It's like either you confess and you can walk in freedom, walk in light, or there's these small compromises you make, and that line that's so clear in the sand, once it gets vague, it's so much easier to step over it. And that's how, I talk to people all the time. It's like, well, I was looking at porn, and then I had this interaction with someone. I was on a trip, and then we exchanged numbers, and then I sent, a DM, and all of a sudden I've had an affair. And it's like, how did it get here? Well, it was way back here, to the person saying, I would never do that, or how did this happen? Well, there's a clear, breadcrumb trail of this area of my life that I said that wasn't a big deal, that I actually agreed with the father of lies, saying it's not a big deal. He's like, perfect, because if you don't think that's a big deal, I'm just going to take you one step closer so I can ruin your life.
So I think the transparency and living in the light is key. And then I would say a second part of this is choosing to discipline your body and your mind, right?
Yeah.
Doing hard things, because you might be able to live in truth and in the light, which is the start. But then we got to discipline. We got to we got to develop our character, right? And so we have our emotions, right, or our thoughts that lead to our emotions, which lead to our behaviors, which lead to our habits over the long term. And so whatever behavior we do on a regular basis becomes our habit, and those habits eventually shift into our character. And so if we can be the type of men or women that do hard things, we have an event going on right now. So we have 38 CEOs at my headquarters right now that are probably right now, they're in the mud pit. It's like 40 degrees outside.
Yeah, it's freezing
it's
for Dallas right now.
It's freezing right now. I was cold as talking to them earlier. And so it is so cold, and man, their faces are all pink, their noses, their ears. I could tell they're really cold. And so they're in the mud. They're finding evidence for the type of man that they are the type of guy that does hard things. And when we know that's who I am. I'm the man or the woman that does hard things, and that's become a part of my character. It becomes easier to say no to these things. Right, and to say no to that lady when you can choose to flirt with her or not. Right, when everything within. I was at a company Christmas party before I sold my last business, and it was the final Christmas party, and so I was at this. We're having a great time. They did a big celebration for me because it was the last Christmas party, and so they were kind of like the goodbye. And I'm hanging out, and there's this very attractive new team member. The business is in California. I had moved to Texas, was running it remotely. And so the first time I met her, very attractive team member, and she's just really wants to go deep in conversation with me. And I'm like, oh, wow. And so I feel a little bit of attraction, right? Just kind of that fleshly attraction. And so I kind of distance myself. She finds me again in the room where we're having the Christmas party, and I feel this pull, and so I engage. I'm in a conversation with her, and then I go, whoa, this could cross a line. And so I pause for a moment. I'm like, okay, I don't like the feeling of attraction and me wanting to lean into this conversation. I wasn't flirting, but like I wanted to be friendly,
Right.
in conversation. So I just backed away, went and processed for a second. And I'm like, I got to leave. So I said, hey guys,
Yeah.
I'm taking off early. Have a great night. I didn't want to be one of the last ones at the company Christmas party while everyone's drinking. And then, so I took off. I left our Christmas party early just to set boundaries and do the hard thing. If I can feel that fleshly pull, like I want to run, I'm going to run the other way to be safe and to have proper boundaries.
Hey, real quick. If you've been telling yourself, I'll deal with this later, let this be your moment. If you want to live with integrity online and you're tired of fighting private battles in secret, Covenant Eyes can help. It's accountability software designed to bring transparency to your devices and support healthier choices, not just through willpower, but through trusted relationships. And right now, you can try Covenant Eyes with a 30-day free trial. Just use the link in the show notes or visit covenanteyes.com and use promo code AACC on screen to get your 30 days free. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be willing to take the next step. Covenant Eyes. Take the step into the light.
Yeah, I think that's so helpful for maybe someone listening, because to get to a place like that, you had to do some hard work. For you to have the level of self-awareness to say, hey, I'm feeling something that is not righteous in me, and I'm going to identify it. And then I'm going to say, hey, either I can make a bad decision or I can make a good decision, and I'm going to be cognitively aware and make a good decision. What did the process for you to become that disciplined? Maybe someone listening, they're looking to level up in their life, but they want to start with, how do I build a foundation of being a resilient man in every area of my life?
I think it's a part of the spiritual formation process. So Dallas Willard, it's a great book for those of you that haven't read it, but it's called Renovation of the Heart.
Yeah.
A really powerful book. And he just breaks down where Christians miss it. They miss it. They follow Jesus, but that's the start. When you accept Christ, that's the beginning of the journey. And so like inner healing is a key part of spiritual formation, like going to a Christian therapist or a counselor or finding an event or somewhere you can go to heal some childhood stuff. Everybody's got something. Then there is the daily disciplines, right, of reading the Bible or doing something on a regular basis. For me, it's my morning routine. I wake up, grab my coffee, I read the Bible, I pray, I work out, I have my routine, and I make sure I'm consistent with that almost every day. Yeah. So building some consistency in my routine. The third part of that is community, like finding other people that you can go do it with. Like a lot of people Lone Ranger it, like Jason Bourne and all that stuff. That's for the movies. That doesn't work in real life. You can't Lone Ranger it. Like we need community. Absolutely. So there's people listening to this call where they don't have any brothers or sisters where they could actually share what's going on in their life, the details of what's really happening. We all need a couple people, one person or a couple people. So finding that community keeps the accountability rolling. And so we need some level of accountability. That I have a pastor, I'm leading a fairly important organization, and so I can't mess up. And so I pay a pastor, my old pastor, I pay him money monthly just to be my coach and someone I know I can share anything with them. Like those little, if I look at something too long, like that's the guy I'll go share it with. Like I need some accountability. I need some community around me to grow together with them. And so I think those three things, if people can get those right, they have a much better chance of developing good disciplines. Because if you just try to do your morning routine, set goals, and do these disciplines by yourself, some people are exceptional at that, but most human beings, they'll fall off. They're going to fall off. They're going to hit a drift, and then they're going to shoot off into.
I think some people can be like you were saying, it's the perception of disciplined, but what I've found often is the person that's disciplined but is still struggling, they don't have a close friend. They don't have, I call them, the Proverbs 27:6 friends, the wounds of a friend. If you don't have someone in your life that knows you well enough to say, Skylar, how you doing? I'm okay. And it's like, I know you well enough to know that your mannerisms are off, your attitude is off, your tonality is off. And I'm going to say, hey, man, I'm going to ask you again. And because I love you, I feel like something's up. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But what's up? And then you're going to tell me what's actually going on, and I'm going to, walk with you through that. And I think if you don't have that, it's like you're really missing out, because there's a level, to your life that God wants you to go to that you can't get to on your own.
Yeah, I would say the minimum standard is one friend.
Yeah.
Like that. So if people believe it's important enough, they'll find it.
Right.
But if they don't think it's that important, they'll never go. Like, I believe mentor is important.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to go find a group, identify a mentor, befriend him, and then ask him. Like, I'm willing to go put all that work in just to find a mentor.
Yeah.
Because I know how important mentors are. I mean, it's changed my game and my businesses all around.
Yeah.
And so, like, if we believe, hey, that deeply rooted friendship is really important. If they believe that, they will go find it, and they'll keep it top of mind, and then they'll run into a person that they can just befriend. Because there's one of the questions we ask on our intake sheet for the Rise Up Kings event is, do you feel like anybody truly knows you 100%?
Yeah.
And so we purposely ask that because we want to see where guys are at, and most men say no.
Yeah.
Nobody knows the depth of my struggle, my anxiety, or my depression, or some of the lustful thoughts I have. Like, that's stuff I keep inside. Like, very rarely are people truly known.
Yeah.
And so we want to create space for that, whether it's at church, in a community like this, in a fitness group, like at F3. I mean, there's all kinds of places to find community, but it's literally, it's critical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know entrepreneurship is something that you're passionate about, and specifically Christian entrepreneurship. Yep. What is historically the divide there? Like, can someone who is dedicated to following Jesus, can they have a successful business and make an exponential living? Can they do that well? And I would just say, I believe that you exemplify that. I've been at multiple events that I didn't even know you were there. And not only have you contributed financially to really important things that are happening, but you're there in the room. And I just appreciate the man you are. So I'm just thinking about, how can you do that? Like, how can you do that, and how can you do that well? How can you not allow success, whether it be financially or how well you're doing in life? How do you not allow that to overtake you?
So good. There's so much discovery. I would say entrepreneurship and business is it's like its own personal development program.
Right.
Because as you get to new levels, you have to explore your why. Initially, when I got into business, it was to prove my significance. I grew up in a 700 square foot little mobile home, very small house. Wore glasses before glasses were kind of cool. Now glasses are cool, but like, I felt insecure about my glasses. I don't really share this with everybody. I used to like wet the, I used to pee the bed like until I was like 10 or 11, something like that. So I had these insecurities. And so and so I'm like, what? I'm going to go be successful in business. And so I started businesses at 12, 13, 14, 15. Like, I was like kind of entrepreneurial minded, and I built some pretty good success by the time I was 23, $1 million company. And what I found though, is as I grew that business, I realized that I had grown this business because I was trying to fill a gap. I was trying to fill the void of not being enough. And so I got really good. And what I found is a lot of Christians get really good at building their world in a way to heal to fill their core wound, right? We all have a couple core wounds.
That's my story.
So we have a couple core wounds, right? So for me, it was kind of insecurity and not feeling worthy, not feeling good enough in friend groups and stuff. And so I got really good at building businesses, building community that gave me what invalidated me. Really good. I mean, masterful.
It's really easy to find people who are going to pat you on the back when you're doing well.
100%. So I built it. I'm like, okay, I'm good. And then later on, as I was doing some deep work, I'm like, oh crap, I built this whole thing because I'm insecure.
Yeah.
Like, that sucks. You know, I'm like, that's kind of embarrassing. Like, yes, I was masterful at building these things, but it was to fill a void that just wasn't healed. And so that's a lot of people. That's a lot of pastors.
Yeah.
A lot of pastors get in the business, quote unquote, the business. They get into ministry because there's some wound of being accepted. And so they find a great path, which ministry is a beautiful way to get validated and accepted by tons of people because you're just this great guy. And so until they do that deep healing, though, they won't realize their aim's actually off.
Yeah.
It's kind of been to fulfill a void, but they're so masterful in their self-deception that they actually think that it's all about the other people, when really, like, it's a house of cards for most people until they go do some deep work and really process and heal. Then they can then grow a business or a ministry from a holistic place, from a grounded place, from a true place of faith that's not convoluted with our own insecurities or needs or core wounds tied into that.
And what I love about that is, even if that's you, that you've walked that path, that you've built something, whether it be a ministry or a business or whatever it is, God in His grace and His mercy, when you get to that place, when you do the hard work and when you heal and when you realize that maybe you do have some narcissistic things that you need to wrestle with, in spite of all that, what God will do, He doesn't wipe your slate clean. There's things that you were actually doing in your gifting that He has called you and equipped you to do. You were just doing it in the wrong way for the wrong reason, yet you still learn things. So as your life is on the threshing floor, I've met so many people who were so gifted at so many things, and then they had a radical encounter, and it was almost like they were afraid. This is my story. Afraid to have a platform, afraid to to stand before people, because it's like I'm so dangerous. It's like the alcoholic that doesn't want to have a drink, because if I have one drink, I'm going to go back into this place. How do you walk that line?
That's good. I like that. So my journey was, and there's a pruning that happened.
Yeah.
And a lot of that pruning comes from some either a radical encounter or just revelation, where something doesn't work out. And He usually prunes us, like He gets us to our knees somehow. Yeah. And then that's where the self-reflection happens. Self-reflection is absolutely necessary to be an effective Christian, where you analyze and you assess and you reflect on how you're being. So I do that through journaling. I do that through prayer. And so as He was pruning me, so I built the business. I realized, oh crap, it was from a place of just trying to prove my worth. And so what I ended up doing was I kept growing, but I started to shift my aim. Like, hey, how do I make this more about God? So I created an affirmation that I've read for probably the last 14 years is, I'm building this business, and I mentioned the name, I'm building Superior Restoration and Rise Up Kings for the glory of God. So I'm building this, I'm building these for the glory of God. I had to retrain my brain and my heart and everything to shift to where it was less about me. And now all of my aim, I believe it's James 3:16 says, for where you have envy and selfish ambition, there you will find disorder and every evil practice. So if there's any selfish ambition that creeps in, biblically, it leads to disorder and every evil practice. And so what I had to do was I was rooting out selfish ambition and really doing my best to make the growing of my businesses about God. And sure, I'm going to have some benefits to these things, but I wanted my primary aim to be for the glory of God. And so I shifted. I started to shift the way I did everything. When I caught this realization, I read that verse. I'm like, oh crap, I don't want disorder and every evil practice. I've had enough of that. Sure. What's the right way what's the right order? And so I found a lot of Christians are out of order. They're disordered in their life. And so the proper ordering from our perspective is faith, what we call the 4 pillars: faith, family, fitness, and finances. And so we teach on this. So faith is number 1, right? Family's number 2, fitness, your health, number 3, and finances or business and even ministry is number 4. Right? There's a lot of pastors that put ministry above their family and their calling, and they'll sacrifice everything in the pursuit of God and destroy a lot of.
And I think that 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 verse points that out. It's like, if I can get to a place where I can self-assess, it's like, man, is there any selfish ambition here? Because where that bleeds is on people closest to you. So there's so many people who are excelling in their field, but their family's falling apart. For someone, I grew up in a very broken situation regarding my family, and you're a father to 2 young men. What advice would you have to how do I not superimpose the brokenness that I experienced as a child onto my kids, and specifically, if you're someone, again, you're successful, you have access to stuff and things, and it's so easy just to give them that stuff and things, yet the thing that they need most is you. So what does that look like in your life? What advice would you have to someone who maybe they grew up without a dad and they're trying to figure out, how do I be a good dad that honors God, but also instills wisdom into them that maybe you're still learning along the way?
Yep. We typically parent from our wounds is what ends up happening with most people. And so they'll go address issues, they'll discipline from their wounds. If they were bullied as a kid and there's not some healing and some restoration that has happened from that, they'll protect their kids from hard things. If they went through hard things, they'll try to protect their kid from hard things. And so then they soften their kids. So that we parent from our wounds. So I think step number one is, like we talked about already, but spending time with the Lord, reading the Word, and allowing it to speak to your heart and the Holy Spirit to heal. But number two is, just directly mentoring it. For so many people, they're so focused on their professional career that they miss out on these special moments and opportunities with their kids to mentor and to guide them. So I have a 10 and a 13-year-old boy. So I see these years right now as like I'm a mentor and a guide. And so every week I have a calendar appointment to mentor one of my boys. It's an hour-long appointment. And my goal is to teach them something new, how to set goals, how to read the Bible, how to pray. Like I'm teaching them a new life skill. And then I'm spending time getting to know them and to connect with their heart. So that's like it's on my calendar. And so I'm making mentoring and guiding my kids like a top priority versus just being the playful, fun dad and having fun, or versus like working 10, 12 hours a day in business. So I've set pretty tight boundaries on how much I'm willing to work. So I cut off at almost every day around 5. And not everyone can do this. I can, but I cut out around 5, maybe 5:30. Start at like 8. I have time in the morning with the kids for breakfast, and then I have the night time after 5:30 is like all the family's time. Almost every night. And so because I've done it the other way. I've done it where I've hustled so much, it's just not worth it. The kids grow up so fast, and so I've made them a priority, you would say, and a priority to mentor and to be a intentional father versus a passive father. A passive father sits next to their kid, hangs out with them, maybe he's even present. But an intentional father, he's developing his kids. He's training them up in the ways of the Lord. He's like really focused and thoughtful about that. You have younger kids, so it's as they get older, it becomes even more important. You can do when they're young for sure, but like 10, 13, man, I got to be really thoughtful.
And I think it's when you come out of chaos is comfortable to you, and sometimes you even crave it because structure and discipline, it feels so foreign. You perceive it as danger. So for me, when we had one kid, I was on staff at a church. Everything's pretty defined for me. It's like it was hard. It was a hard but fun season. Then we had second kid. And then I'm starting to like travel a little bit. It's like, man, I had no idea how much I struggled with being disorganized, because I was just saying yes to everything and just kind of, going by, just by the wind, just doing whatever. And I was like, man, I really got to take some time. And it was through journaling for me. It's like, I love like MyFitnessPal. It's like, man, if you want to change the composition of your body, if you document everything that you intake, well, that's going to determine your composition, And then if you go a level deeper, it's like, well, if I look at my macros, then that's going to, even more like tell you a story. So for me, it's like I try to like macro and micro like journal, and that's going to help me. It's like as I allot my day, like this is what I did. It's like, man, I'm kind of all over the place. It's like I might have accomplished a lot, but I could have got everything I did in 8 hours done in 4 hours if I'd have just been more structured. And my wife is super organized, which is helpful. But man, that was a game changer for me. It's like so for me, it's like I generally get up at 4 and my day ends at 4. So like after this, like at 4 o'clock, it's like, don't call me, don't text me, pretend I'm dead.
I had a buddy that I called one time, and then he would never answer after 5. And so eventually he told me, he's like, oh yeah, he's like, yeah, don't message me after 5. I'm with the family.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, set a pretty hard boundary right there. All right, cool. Like,
Yeah,
I like it.
yeah,
Like, he's like,
yeah.
I'm done. That's 100% family time. He set
Yeah.
that hard of a boundary. It was
Yeah.
beautiful. And I think Satan keeps Christians bound through lies.
Yeah.
Right, lies is the primary way. And so one of the lies that a lot of Christians believe is the busier I get,
Yeah.
the less time my family will get. So I switched that. I'm like, no, I don't want to believe that, because we live into our belief systems. And so
Yeah.
I'm like, so what I did was I shifted. I said, the busier I get, the more intentional I become with my family, literally. And so that's what happens.
Yeah.
If I just have tons of time with the family, it's just naturally less intentional. There's
Right.
just so much time. Vacations, I'm not as intentional with them.
Yeah.
What happens is when I get really busy, I become crazy intentional, where every moment
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, let's go spend 15 minutes, buddy. Hey, let's go do this.
Yeah.
Hey, let's go get 30 minutes. Like, I'm really intentional with pouring in the time.
Yeah.
So the lie that a lot of men use is, man, I'm just so busy. It's just going to be less time right now.
Yeah.
Nope. BS. Lie.
Yeah.
The busier you are, the better the quality of time
Yeah,
you have
and
with
if
your
you
family.
and if you look at it, it's so much easier to dial in your nutrition, like all these things. Like if your day is structured,
Yeah, yeah.
it's like, man, I'm going to be more effective if I'm more efficient.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so easier to think the other way. It's like more is better. Like no, like efficient is
Mm-hmm.
better. So I would love to hear more about just like fatherhood is something that I just got back from Irvine, and I was doing a podcast with a good buddy of mine. So Ben and Jordan, they do a podcast called Good Dude, Good Dad.
Oh, yeah.
And
They're
so great. And Ben actually has stepped into, he's leading the men's ministry at his church.
Okay.
And, they got coffee shops and, jujitsu, and, they're doing a million things at once, but they're so intentional with their family and their kids. But we were just talking about, man, when we think about legacy, you've kind of hinted at it. I love it, the way it's been said. I think a mutual friend of ours, Garrett Unkelbach, he talks about how legacy is not what you leave behind for someone; it's what you leave within someone.
Yes. Yeah, it's good.
When I say that, what does that mean for you and your kids? Maybe someone listening, that was not set up for you, but you really want to leave a legacy within your children, those that you oversee. What does that look like to you?
I think what's missing in our culture with males, we have a lot of males that are not men.
Yeah.
We have a lot of males, right, biologically male, but they haven't shifted into men yet. And so my nephew's 20 years old. We're living with his mom. Great guy, but he's leveled up now. But he didn't know what it meant to be an actual man. A man is somebody that provides and they protect and they have a mindset of responsibility with it. They embrace responsibility. So I really think it's those three things. Hey, they have being a man is a mindset. It's an identity that happens. And so there's a lot of 30-year-old males that are out partying, video gaming, just doing all this stuff and really taking instead of giving. Yeah. And so it's a major mindset shift. And so we don't have anything in our culture that shifts a boy to a man. If you go look back in the Bible, there are so many young men, 13-year-olds, 10-year-olds that were kings of entire nations. Yeah. So in the Jewish tradition, 13 was the age that you would shift into becoming a young man. Was 13. Yeah. It has taken this period of time. It's taken longer for boys to become men than any other time in our world's history. Yeah. It's just taking so much longer. So because in Jewish culture, they had the bar mitzvah. So there's no ritual, there's no process for shifting a boy into a man. So we saw a big gap in this. And so we ran our first, and we're going to run our goals every month, but it's called the Genesis. It's a process where we help shift the mindset of a boy, 13 to 17, into a young man. And again, it's not the age. Culture says it's 18, but it's really an identity. Yeah. And so we shift their inner identity to shift from being the one taken care of to being the one taking care of other people. Yeah. So, and we do that through like this 2-day process of doing really hard things and ingraining that, hey, your role is now protector and provider as of this event. Yeah. And so it's cool seeing a 15-year-old, like the stories that we've heard of, these guys are now like, hey, mom, can I go walk you to the car? Hey, mom, I'll grab the groceries. hey mom, like I'll open the door. Like so it's just it was a literal shift that happened with these boys this last weekend. Now, not boys, young men.
Yeah.
And so that's one of my passions. That's the thing that I'm like actually most excited about right now is helping to shift the culture and helping to support boys shifting into young men through an experiential event. And then there's 6 months of like mentorship and guiding them on what it means to be a young man. My nephew is 20 years old. He found a girl that he fell in love with, and he went to go meet her for the first time. They were over the phone, and he went to meet her. Didn't go as well as planned. And what she said to him was, "You're not as much of a man as I thought you were."
Oh, wow.
Brutal, right? Yeah. Like basically you're not really a man from my perspective. And so it like wrecked him. Yeah. His dad was in prison from drug use, mom, I mean, all kinds of issues. And so like, he's like, oh crap. It's like, I actually don't know what it means to be a man. Is that I open a door? Like what the heck does it even mean to be a man? So it broke him. Yeah. Brought him to his foundation, cracked his foundation, and he went on a journey of like really realizing what it meant. So that's a lot of men. Yeah. That's a lot of 20 to 30-year-olds. They don't know what it means. Is it just making money? Yeah. Like what does it mean to be a man?
What I love about what you shared though is probably, I don't know this for sure, but probably that girl had a really good dad.
She did.
And he had set an example of this is what it means or looks like to be a man. I love this book, Master Plan of Evangelism, and Robert E. Coleman wrote it. And he talks about how most people are not looking for an explanation. They're looking for a demonstration because it ingrains something in you.
It's good.
Yeah. So I just love that's something practical being played out. It's like, hey, my father has instilled in me what it means to be a good man by example, and you're not it.
So brutal. You're not it. So brutal. So it was that's the truth. So that's what we want. Or if we have daughters, right? I don't have any daughters, but like that's my goal is that you see a male and you realize, no, he's not a man yet. And I'm not willing to journey with him to figure it out. Or I am willing to journey with him to go figure it out.
Yeah. And I like those are some of the proudest moments where, like, if I'm traveling, Cannon, our oldest, will be like, I made sure mom didn't take out the trash. It's like,
wow.
It's like,
it's great.
Like,
so that's rare.
Or it's like, let's go.
It's incredibly rare. And so I'm raising up my son. I think I missed the mark a little bit with him, and he's just such a he has a little bit more of a selfish nature than my other one. Yeah. And so he wants to do what he wants to do. And so I've been working on breaking through and have the Holy Spirit break through that to where he realizes his role is to serve, not to be served. Yeah. Like, hey, I'm helping to shift his mindset to be a servant leader, not just he's a great leader, but dude, you got to be a servant leader, man. I need you like leading with your heart and there to serve other people, not leading to get your needs met, but leading to help other people get their needs met.
Yeah, and I think when you lead that way, you're walking in the Spirit, and if you're walking in the Spirit, you're walking in alignment with who God has called you to be, and guess what? You're probably going to get more done, and you're going to have anointing and blessing that's going to follow you with that. So just in close, we've spent a lot of time talking about this, this spiritual development. Would you just? I think you do this really brilliantly. If a man is looking to say, "Hey, I want to be more spiritually mature," Let's pretend it's a clean slate. Where do you start? Like, give me, a roadmap for me walking in the fullness of who God wants me to be as a man. Someone listening, maybe I've just given my life to Jesus, and now I want to be disciplined, but most importantly, I want to be spiritually mature.
Yeah, number one place is the Bible. So I think that process is called spiritual formation, right? And so what happens is the Bible has the ability to literally shift your soul, like from the inside out. The more you spend time reading, studying, understanding, and spending time with God, the Holy Spirit and what you learn starts to change what you want in life. Yeah. You no longer want to look at inappropriate images. You no longer want to desire to get your needs met from an attractive relationship.
Yeah.
Like somebody that you know.
Yeah.
It literally shifts what you want. So the number one thing is spending time in the Word.
Yeah.
And then the Word it changes your soul. It transforms. It forms your soul so that your body, your flesh, your mindset, your thoughts, your emotions, your behaviors, your will, what you want, all line up under God.
Yeah.
Because what happens is we have a lot of disintegrated Christians where the body's over here, they want a good life, their flesh is making bad decisions, their emotions are all over the place, their thoughts are all over the place, and it's completely disintegrated.
Yeah.
And so what spiritual formation is, what spending time in the Word and going through healing and being in community and these things, it starts to form your soul and gets all those things back in alignment under God to where you're like, oh, wow, I'm truly living in freedom now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want these things, and my life has completely transformed.
Yeah.
And so that process can take 10, 15, 20 years. It can be expedited through like events like Rise Up Kings or through counseling or through these different things to expedite the spiritual formation process. But number one is like not a verse of the day.
Yeah.
Not a minute of the verse. That will not spiritually form you. It'll take 50 years. But 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, dedicating that time to allow, like now you're reading not just to learn, you're reading because you know that what you're reading is actually changing you as a human being.
Yeah, because I think there's a big shift that happens when you're just like, I'm going to read 5 minutes, but you just like, just open it up, and wherever it is, like, man, have some structure. Go through a reading plan. There's so many great resources out there, but what I'm hearing you talk about is Hebrews 4:12. I think it's where the Word of God is a double-edged sword, and it divides bone and marrow, soul and spirit, and that's what it will do. It's an effective tool to use to say, hey, this is what God says is true and real, and it's not just something that sounds good, it's a reality to live in. And now I have this tension of, am I going to be conformed by the world or my flesh, or am I going to go through this metamorphosis where, like, God has a better plan for me, and He's telling me how to live in it and how to walk in it, and I'm going to have to say no to some things, and I'm going to say yes to some things, and maybe I'm going to stumble along the way, but I'm going to keep going. And I would just say, in closing, I think consistency is something that transformed my life, where it's good to, if you eat good, 4 days a week, and you eat poorly 3 days a week, you can still work out every day of the week, and you'll be unhealthy and unfit. What would you say to someone who's trying to add consistency in their life, especially, we're coming out of New Year's, and, new year, new you, and I think it was pretty recent. It was like, I forget what the day is called, but it's like the day that most people stop. Their New Year's resolution. It's like it's on the 13th or something. 13th or the 19th. It's like it's like you can't even make it 21 days. But what would you say to the person that you want? You've got good intentions, but you're really wanting to implement consistency into your life.
Yeah, and it's not about good. It's not about good intentions, right? It's the character of keeping your word to yourself.
Yeah.
Right. And so that consistency is really important because it's evidence to yourself that you can keep your word to yourself, which builds self-esteem and it builds confidence.
Yeah.
And then you have this power that you can now operate within because you're like, no, I keep my word to myself.
Yeah.
Like, I am that guy. And so every time you break consistency or set goals and don't achieve them, it's an L for your self-esteem, and it's an L for your confidence every time. So I'd rather you not set goals and not hit them than set goals continuously and miss and miss and miss. It negatively affects your confidence.
Yeah, because I think people are, that's why so many times people are their worst critic in that you speak poorly to yourself. Again, that still Garrett's language. He talks about how you need to talk to yourself more than you listen to yourself. And that, because more often than not, your inner dialogue is your flesh, but you can speak truth over yourself.
Yep.
And I think it's so easy to not do that. It's so easy to be passive and not do that.
So I think for consistency, back to your point, having a routine.
Yeah.
So we're going super tactical right here, but having a morning routine and doing it there's a great book called Atomic Habits which breaks down, right, the power of a routine. But having a routine that you like sit in the same place every day,
Yeah.
and you wake up at the same time, and then you go read the word in that same time. So having that and then having some accountability is like number 2. So finding someone that you can join a group text message with and say, hey, for the next 90 days, let's post a picture of us reading the Bible, or a little checkbox if we read the Bible, or or whatever that may be. So having somebody to get the character built, we need some
legitimate checks and balances. Right?
Yeah, some checks and balances, 100%.
Yeah.
So we that's very effective for most human beings. Most people will do more when they're surrounded by other people than they will ever do on their own.
Yeah.
I'll get a guy in an ice bath by himself. If he's by himself, he'll stay one amount. If he's surrounded by 15 other brothers that care about him, he'll go 3 times as long. Or that's in anything in life. And so just finding some community at church, like get some guys together, go start a Bible study, like find some people you can do life with, or women too, that you have a level of respect and care for, or that you will build a respect and care for. And find someone that you can do life with is really key.
Yeah. So we've talked a lot about fatherhood, community, discipline, and as we close our time, I just always love to hear just one final thought, to the audience listening. Just maybe it's something that God has impressed on your heart, or something that came to mind that you didn't have the opportunity to say during our conversation. Just one final thought.
Be aware of the strongholds in your life. So what a stronghold is a place of protection that eventually became a place of imprisonment. Think of Egypt. Egypt was a place that the Jews went for protection. And then they eventually grew to such a size where Pharaoh was like, these people are dangerous, and he locked them into a prison. So strongholds are always they're always a good thing first.
Yeah.
They were a place of protection. There's something that served you in the beginning that eventually trapped you. And so just checking in what areas of our lives did something serve us? Maybe it's a wall we kept up and learned to keep up as a kid to protect us from being vulnerable and getting hurt.
Yeah.
But now we're imprisoned by that lack of vulnerability and those walls we put up in relationships now to keep us protected. So just to break, that's where Satan gets us. He gets us. He's like, no, it's safe. It's like, dude, no, that's preventing intimacy in your marriage and in your friendships and with your pastor and with those people that you care about most.
Yeah. Awesome. Such a good word. Well, man, I appreciate you so much, and I know this is going to bless the audience, and I just appreciate you as a friend and the man that you are.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, real quick, if you've been telling yourself, I'll deal with this later, let this be your moment. If you want to live with integrity online and you're tired of fighting private battles in secret, Covenant Eyes can help. It's accountability software designed to bring transparency to your devices and support healthier choices, not just through willpower, but through trusted relationships. And right now, you can try Covenant Eyes with a 30-day free trial. Just use the link in the show notes or visit covenanteyes.com and use promo code AACC on screen to get your 30 days free. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be willing to take the next step. Covenant Eyes. Take the step into the light.